KR Mangalam World School Gurugram proudly celebrates 15 years of academic excellence, a journey marked by innovation, learning, and growth. As part of this milestone, we are bringing conversations that engage, learn, and innovate.
We believe that the best lessons don't just come from books. They come from people who've walked different paths, faced challenges, and turned their experiences into wisdom. That is why we created VoiceIt, a platform where students speak up, ask questions, and learn directly from renowned voices who have made a difference.
I am Misha Sareen, the head girl.
And I'm Niksha Arora, the head boy. To begin this journey, we're starting with someone who embodies curiosity, resilience, and impact, Mr. Ankur Warikoo.
An entrepreneur, author, educator, and mentor, he has worn many hats with one common thread: helping people make meaningful choices in life. From co-founding Nearby and leading Groupon India to becoming a best-selling author and building one of the largest learning communities online, his story is more about success. It's about discipline, failure, time, money, and self-awareness.
What advice would you give to a 17-year-old to have one daily ritual that would make their life epic?
I would personally think that reading would be the one. I have benefited a lot from reading. I have really enjoyed books, and those have been my entries into a world that I could not have built for myself. Certainly not at 18 or 17 or 20 or even 25, 30, 35. So if there's one ritual, I would say read every day, because that's like such a great shortcut to learn about the world.
Are there some books that you would like to suggest?
No, man. So, frankly, I think you should never take any book suggestions from anyone, because the books will be personal to them. So what I like, you may not like. What you like, I may not like. The best thing about books is there's always a book for everybody. So just pick up the book that you enjoy. I remember for the longest time, I used to read comics, and those were my entries into a different world, and we couldn't afford any more books. Our school library wasn't as great as it would be here. So like Diamond Comics, I don't know if you heard like Chacha Chaudhary, Pinky Bill, like एकदम random पूरा Tintin, like Tintin तो बहुत अलग level पे है. Tintin Asterix was like, oh my god, you arrived in life. It's like, but as a teenager, Archie's used to be like this really cult thing back then. And today you have so much, and my son's 14 and he's reading such incredible books that are like, I wish I had access to all of that. So any book that you enjoy, it doesn't matter. It's just the art of reading. That's a habit, because if you build that habit, then at 25 you will automatically be reading the right books. Not to say that comics are not the right book.
No, so everyone has obviously enjoyed your books a lot, sir. But after IITs, MBA programs, and even 49 investors saying no, you still kept on going.
Yes.
And you believe that you only need one yes to keep on going.
Yes.
So what is that inner belief that kept you going and inspired you all throughout these years?
I frankly just never gave up on myself. I don't think that I had an inner belief of anything. It is just that if you don't have an option, that the only option is to fight. And I was almost always in that state, that in that corner, I'm that chuha, billi samne khadi hai, and you can't just give up. And you're like, I have to give it one more shot, and I have to just hope that I live to tell the tale. And that's exactly who I am right now. I'm not like the smartest person you'll meet or the most hardworking person you'll ever meet. I'm just someone who fights because I believe that I have every responsibility towards my own self, and that's what I've done. And I'm glad that things worked out. They may not have worked out, and I wouldn't be here today, but I will still at least die knowing that I never gave up on myself.
After being extremely successful, sir, do you still believe that you need to keep on fighting every day?
Oh yeah, 100%. And not fight for anybody else. Fight to become the best version of yourself. Like, you want to stand in front of the mirror and be proud of who you are. And that's always a lifelong journey. Kabhi bhi ek din aisa nahi aayega where you'll be like, oh, my job's done and I'm so proud now. I don't think there's anybody that we look up to, that we are inspired by, who would any day say, my job's done and I'm the best version of myself. Every single day they are working hard on themselves, becoming the best version that they want to be.
You said that life isn't a straight line. It's full of uncertainty. How would you suggest we tackle that uncertainty?
The best way to do that is to frankly realize that if you are at this point right now in life, at 17, 12th grade school, blah, 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 and let's say you want to get here, the biggest mistake will be for you to assume that there's a straight line to get here, and that's the only path for you. And so the worst thing that you can do is to assume कि अगर मैं pilot नहीं बना, my life is over. And for the belief that you have is that if I don't follow astronomy and if I don't become an astrophysicist, if I don't join the place that I want to be, my life is over. That's what I also frankly thought. I for the longest time thought ki astronomy, NASA, all of that is absolutely my straight line, and if I don't make that straight line, my life is over. What I realized today is कि जहाँ तुम्हें पहुँचना है ना, it's not a dot, it's actually a vertical line. And if you hit any point on that vertical line, you are successful. But that means that where you are, there are infinite paths to get to that point of success. Infinite. So if you find any roadblock in your life, just take a left or a right. Just change something. And you will still be in the same direction. The direction matters more than the path you take. कुछ पाथ लंबे होंगे, कुछ पाथ छोटे होंगे, कुछ पाथ बहुत मुश्किल होंगे, कुछ पाथ आसान होंगे. But it is infinite the number of options you have to become successful, whatever success definition you have.
A lot of people believe that the shortest path is the best path.
Exactly.
Do you believe that?
I know for the longest time I did.
You did.
When I was your age, that is exactly the belief I had. And today at 45, I'll tell you that's not. Because very few people in life that I personally know of and I've read about and I have learnt about took the shortest path and were actually successful in the shortest path. वो लगता है ना कि you go to IIT, you go to IIM, then you join McKinsey and then life is set. But even that is one, it's intensely hard. Very few people are capable of that. I know that I'm not. But the other thing is, you look at that and you think that's the only way of success. And then you see it's not. Right? Then you, let's say, I'm just using an example, then you look at someone like a Sundar Pichai, is like he never went to the best possible school that it could have been. And yes, he went to a great place and IIT Kharagpur and blah, blah, blah. But no, he didn't go then to the finest masters. He didn't go to the Stanford of the world, blah, blah. He just joined a really nice startup, worked his butt off and came to that point where he's now perhaps one of the most important people in the tech industry. And he earned it through hard work. And that is a far more probable outcome than relying on your inborn intelligence or your luck or your destiny.
When did you realize that this is your motto, to do epic shit?
I think there's no grand day or that grand point. It is just a discovery that, you know what, that's what I believe in. That's what I would want to do. That's what the title of the first book is as well. It's about doing, which is greater than thinking. Action is greater than thought. Epic, do something which is bigger than you. You have fun doing it. It's cool and it's nice, and shit is just colloquial for having fun. You're not dragging yourself, and you're not feeling फिर से एक और Monday, फिर से वही problems, वही सारी office, वही सारा thing. You actually look forward to every day, and if you do, then your life is set. That's what you want to do.
If you were to change one thing, what you did in your 17 or in your teens, what would that be?
Stop judging people on what they're doing at that point of time. No, I was really judgmental at that point of time. I'll be honest, and I'm not proud of who I was at that point. I used to judge people who had commerce. Like, ये कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा इनसे ज़िंदगी में. I used to judge people who had arts. इनसे कुछ नहीं हो पाएगा. ये number भी नहीं ले पाए. I used to judge people who used to party every weekend. I used to judge people who used to smoke and drink. I used to judge people who used to bunk classes. I used to genuinely think that ये ज़िंदगी में कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे. And today, the same set of people, including the ones who were also successful and toppers and blah, 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 are doing very well in life. And they're actually good-hearted people. They were, of course, whatever were the choices, maybe misled, maybe had bad company and whatnot, but eventually they came around, and I was this judgmental person, I don't want to use any word, who was like, ये घटिया इंसान है, ये घटिया इंसान है, ये घटिया इंसान है, ये घटिया इंसान है. And I wish I wasn't that person. I wish I saw through people, not just for their actions, but who they were fundamentally.
Was there a specific moment in time when you realized that?
No, you know what? It's a great question. I remember one batchmate of mine from school, and the classic definition of who I would call a failure. Never studied, barely passed, always had some back in some subject or not, always used to bunk classes, was the mischievous kid who was troubling the teachers, who was planting those pranks in school, who was hitting boys. I went to an all-boys school, so all-boys school is a different DNA altogether. Hitting each other and making the testosterone directed into something and so on. I think ये जिंदगी में कभी कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा. And I remember during COVID 2020, My mom had a really severe attack of COVID and she was struggling and we had to get medication. And I figured that he runs one of the most successful chemists in the city now in Delhi NCR. And he was frankly the only person who could arrange the medicines that my mom needed in that desperate moment. And I was like, you know what? This is the best middle finger that life can show to you, Ankur Warikoo. That you thought that this person would never make it, but perhaps this guy is saving more lives than you will ever in your life by just doing the work that he's doing right now. And it is as recent as like 5 years back when it again hit me that you were just such a judgmental ass that you just looked down upon people and thought that you would never make it. And तूने जिंदगी में ऐसा क्या उखाड़ लिया? And he's running that chemist and that shop is actually helping people far more than you ever will.
So one last question.
Please.
Won't want to take more time of yours, but you say carrying a notebook triples your productivity, right? So what is that one thing the students could unlock if they carry a notebook everywhere?
I would just say offload the task of trying to remember things. And this was just how I was trained as a student back in the days, and I hope that it still continues. When I see you carrying notebooks, for us there were no laptops, there was no computer. We forget affording it. There wasn't even a concept of a personal computer. It came much later. So हमारे पास कोई option नहीं था. Everything was notes. Everything was like, मैम ये सर पढ़ा रहे हैं और तुम्हें बस लिखते रहना. But what it did was it frankly offloaded the effort of trying to remember. And we were like, we're just translating whatever is being taught in our own language so that we can comprehend it at a later stage. And that got me into the habit of not remembering anything, but relying on my notes for reference. So today, I don't remember anything. I don't use my mind even for a second to remember things. I use my mind to do things. And a lot of people are just trying to remember things from their memory. अरे अच्छा वो असाइनमेंट करनी है, वो उसने बोला था वहाँ जाना है, अच्छा वो पार्टी है, वो वहाँ उधर कोई मीट है, वहाँ कुछ ये हो रहा है वगैरह वगैरह. No, just put it on a calendar, put it on a notebook and forget about it so that your mind is actually using its energy to only do and not remember. And that's the best thing that notebook offers. It's a very simple hack but super powerful.
Thank you so much.
Thank
sir.
you.
It was
Thank you.
wonderful talking to
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for your questions.
And that brings us to the end of this conversation on Voice It with Mr. Ankur Warikoo. Today, we learned that life isn't about chasing straight lines of success, but about embracing the twists, turns, and lessons along the way. From discipline and time management to failure and self-awareness. His words remind us that choices, big or small, shape who we become.
We hope this conversation left you with something to reflect on, because that's what Voice It is all about. Asking questions, sharing stories, and finding meaning in experiences.
We are Misha Sareen and Nikshay Arora of KR Mangalam World School, Gurugram, celebrating 15 years of academic excellence and the voices that inspire us.
Until next time, keep asking, keep learning, and keep voicing it.